is Dr. Tamu. My internet is all wonky, and yeah, I'm wondering if I should switch. Um, I'm wondering if I should switch systems, but we'll see. So there's a bit of a lag, but let me know if you can hear me. It's glitchy. I barely have any bars. I don't know what is going on. But anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome to day 2 of the 7-day high growth entrepreneurship challenge. I am Dr. Tamu Petra Brown. I am founder of Innovative Education and Training, and I am of course, Tamu of Coaching by Tamu. And Coaching by Tamu is the entrepreneurial arm of Innovative Education and Training. And so yesterday, when we were here on day 1, we began with a look at what exactly high growth entrepreneurship is, because if you're following me with the challenge, we have to set some context. And I got a comment from a viewer yesterday shouting out, well, let me not say her name, but it's public because she put it in the YouTube comments. So, hey, Jillian. And Jillian said that she didn't think that she was a high growth entrepreneur and that she was focused on tech entrepreneurship. And I just want to tell Jillian that the biggest space for high growth entrepreneurship is tech entrepreneurship. So, by the very virtue of you wanting to be in the tech space and creating a solution that is technology based, you have automatically landed in the high growth entrepreneur space because technology is one of the high growth industries. So, that is just for Jillian's knowledge and for everyone else's knowledge as well. All right. Now, if you wanted to know why I'm doing the challenge, go back to day 1, watch the challenge, but we're going to get right in because we don't tarry, as they say. We really get going, and 30 minutes. We're on here for 30 minutes. So, tonight we are really looking at revising your value proposition. And let's talk about why that's important. Let me just try to get some of this stuff out the way here. Right, great. So, why that is important. So, it's important because if we go back to day 1 and we look at what high growth entrepreneurship is, and we gave some characteristics regarding high growth entrepreneurship, like what defines a high growth venture, then you will know that in order to satisfy even one of the criterion in high growth entrepreneurship, that you are going to be required to change your value proposition, right? Why? Because a new game, right? Because if you move into high growth, it's a new game. And a new game requires new strategy. Now, what is the value proposition? It's also known as the unique selling proposition. And in a nutshell, it's really all about what you do, right? Who you are, what you do, and how you do what you do very uniquely. Like, what is your competitive advantage? Okay. And your value proposition is actually, should be like extracted from your business model. Okay. And one of the tools that you can use is the business model canvas. Now, my high growth entrepreneurship roadmap tool is the tool that you use after you have been in business for some time, or it's the tool that you use when you know right away that you want a high growth venture. But what you can do is use the business model canvas, extract your value proposition, right? If you want it to be so thorough, and then apply the high growth roadmap. But your unique selling proposition or your value proposition is the core or center of a business model canvas. And it's the most important component of any business model, whether you're using the canvas, whether you're using my roadmap, it is like the core thing that is necessary because it is what you do, who you do it for, and how you do it uniquely. That is what you are exchanging for money, right? And so, if you're moving into high growth entrepreneurship, there's a lot of change that's going to have to happen. So, let me look at my notes here, right? And let's talk about that value proposition and revising that value proposition. Now, remember, I said that your value proposition should be an extraction from your business model, right? So if we are building a new value proposition, I want to introduce the concept of business model innovation to you because what you are going to need to do as a foundational step for that business model canvas, which gives you your new value proposition, is that you're going to need to innovate on that business model. And you might say, well, do I have to go that deep? Like, do I really have to innovate? Yeah, you have to innovate. And I want to talk about why innovation is necessary. And I want to talk about business model innovation in particular. And so let me, at this point, as usual, I want to share all about business model innovation and what the research is saying about business model innovation. So, if we look at business model innovation and why business model innovation helps you to revise your value proposition, because remember, your value proposition is your competitive edge. It is really the articulation of your competitive edge. When you engage in business model innovation, it allows for a significant competitive advantage because more often than not with business model innovation, you are going to be tweaking multiple components of the business model. And because you're tweaking multiple components of the business model, it means that it's very difficult for other ventures in your industry to keep track, right? To rival you because you are changing more than one thing. And so even if you're changing incrementally, because you are changing more than one element of the business model, it gives you a specific edge. Now let's talk about some data and research, because you can't come here without that support. So I'm not just talking out of my head, as they say. So there are lots of, well, I wouldn't say lots, but there is much work in the study of business model innovation from a research perspective. And some of the findings, like from Mohammed Anwar, speaks to business model innovation having a significant positive impact on a competitive advantage. Other research papers talk about how continuing, like continuous business model innovation leads to outperformance of the competition because they are unable to respond effectively and in enough time. And I want to read this specific citation, which is from 2019, a quote from this paper by Bashir. And it speaks to the fact that business model innovation is an important predictor of firm performance, competitive advantage, and strategic flexibility. And let's talk about why that is important. If we go back right, to yesterday. And we looked at the fact that a high growth venture is more than just revenue, right? It's the nature in which that revenue grows, it's the number of employees, it's the footprint, like regional or international footprint. Then you see how closely that research aligns with what we're trying to do. Okay. So it might sound like a lot, but I'm going back. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry. So now that I've set the stage as to the reason for revising your value proposition, which is if you're in a new game with a new intention, which is now high growth, then with that intention, you cannot have the same strategy. You must revise your unique selling proposition. But because your unique selling proposition, or your value proposition, same thing, is derived from your business model, then what you want to do is really innovate more than one element of the business model canvas in order to, you got me? In order to revise your value proposition. So when you sign up, I'm having the Her Action and Accountability Program for 2025, coaching and co-working program combined. And one of our sessions, actually our first session, is going to be about revising the value proposition to put it in alignment with your new high growth goals. And we are actually going to be working on that in real time. And then in that session, we're going to dig down really deep into what does your canvas look like, right? And what areas of that canvas can we innovate on in order to modify the value proposition that is best aligned for a high growth venture. So I do hope that you join us in that program. And by the way, from now, like yesterday and over the weekend, that Thanksgiving weekend and Cyber Monday, we were at 100 US, right? A 47 US dollar discount. And from today until the end of the 7-day high growth challenge, we are going to be at 115 US. And the link will be in the YouTube, or you can always message me in order to take advantage of that. And also, if you're wondering about, should I really review my business model canvas? Yeah, you should. You should. Okay, you should. And I'll also can share the link with you for a 1-hour webinar that I have on the business model canvas. Now, let's talk about what that innovation should look like. So, the canvas has multiple elements. You want to choose elements that are complementary, right, to revise. So that's what I'll say about that. Now, I have my notes, okay? I have my notes. Now, let's talk about if you were like, okay, Tamu Petra Brown, this is really deep, but I'm on this challenge and I really want an actionable step. Well, on this challenge, if you really want an actionable step, we can begin with something as basic as revising the who in the value proposition statement. So, who do you serve? Now, most likely, in order to get to high growth entrepreneurship, you're going to have to do one of two things, or these two things, right? You're going to have to change who you serve so that you have clientele with larger pockets. So it might be that if you are serving small businesses, you need to serve medium enterprises. If you're serving medium enterprises, you need to serve larger enterprises, right? Or you need to add another tier of service layer. So maybe you're not changing your segment, maybe you're adding another tier of pricing to your offerings. And of course, this is a very high ticket price. So it could be that you're serving the same customer archetype. Like, I'll use an example. So the persons that really invest with me at Coaching by Tamu, many of them started when I began at the workshop level, which was very affordable. Then many of them moved into accelerator programs, some of them into Jumpstart Your Business, which was, I would say, like a medium tier, and then moved on to other programs like Level Up Ladies, which is thousands of dollars, more than $1,000 US. And I can keep going. I can keep going. And so when you think about your value proposition, you're considering and changing that to go to high growth entrepreneurship. It could be that you are adding a new segment entirely, or it could be that you are serving a niche piece of the existing segment that you have, right? And creating a very high ticket offer because you are grooming your people, right? They're working with you and they want more. Or you can do both. Another thing is that you might be pivoting all together. You might say, listen, I've been doing something smaller on the side, which I call diversified livelihoods. And I think that it has the potential, greater potential than what I'm doing in this moment to take me to high growth entrepreneurship. And so, if that is the case, you might decide that, of course, your value proposition has to change because you're changing your entire business model and totally pivoting from what you were doing and making one more important than the other. So the side becomes more important than what was the main, or you release what you were doing or hand it over to your team and tech so that it can run on its own while you now pour into this new venture that you believe has the best probability of moving you to high growth entrepreneurship. And sometimes we have to let go and we have to focus, and times change and your environment changes. And sometimes there are just too many competitors in your space now. And you know that what you intend to do or what you've been flirting with, that you might be first to market. So you might want to invest and double down into that new venture, right? Another way, right, that is easy to contemplate that you might modify in order to modify your value proposition is that you might change, because remember, it's who you serve, right? Okay. What you do that is so unique, right? So you might want to change that second or latter portion. So in the first part, we were changing who we served. But in this second part, we are now going to change how we serve them. So maybe you are just totally redefining what you do and moving into a much more innovative space. So you're attracting new eyes, right? You've moved to a higher price point because of how you serve. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a boutique, right? You're a boutique owner, you're into retail, and you make great money, but now you're like, it's time to move to another kind of thing. Yes, so and so, the normal traditional model existed in terms of channel. People would come into the space and they would try your clothes. But if that, of course, limits you and you're unable to scale. So perhaps what you're going to do is you might offer virtual shopping, personal shopping experiences where persons don't have to come in store. You take their measurements. You can probably use AI apps to do that. They can have a real-time experience with some of your personal shoppers where you can pull the clothing, etc. If it was me, I would have an AI that would try on the clothes so that AI version would be, identical to the client, and they would be able to see in real time how they would look in some of the pieces. If you didn't want to go high tech, you could also find models that were of similar size or proportions to your client who is doing the personal shopping. And then you box up their stuff and you send it out to them delivery. So it's a much more high end service that really changes the channel model where they don't ever have to come in store. So that is a way of modifying or revising the value proposition where you are not changing who you serve, but you're changing the manner in which you serve them to add significantly more value to the customer experience. So when we think about revising the value proposition, we have to, think or look through these different lenses. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, comments, etc., you can share them here on the chat, or you can send me the comments. I believe we are live on Facebook as well tonight and YouTube, and I'll respond to them tomorrow. Okay. So, what is your day 2 challenge? Your day 2 challenge is to identify 2 ways that you can revise your value proposition so that it is in greater alignment with your high growth venture goals in the context of the definitions that we would have given on day 1. So tomorrow we move to day 3. I'm busy looking for my phone. I cannot find it. So day 3, we have an entirely new topic, and I'll be happy to speak on that for that 30 minutes. And the goal of this challenge is really to provide you with some quick actionable steps to help you think about, understand high growth entrepreneurship and take some action steps at home so that you can build out or begin the foundational work or the mental work by responding to the daily challenges as a way to build a foundation for your high growth entrepreneurship work. And I do hope that you will be joining me in January 18th. We begin virtually to work with me on the high growth entrepreneurship action and accountability program. You can, of course, find all of the details. I have a great landing page at tamubrown.com. You'll see the video. You just click, it will take you to from the home page, it will take you to the landing page where you can learn all about the program. I'm also happy to send it to you. And of course, if you view any of my social media accounts, there's so much information about that there as well. So this is it for me tonight. We're focused on revising your value proposition, and send me messages, put messages below. Let me know how you are getting along with the challenges. So let me just I can put the challenge on screen. So let me do that so that, yeah, so that you can focus on that. Right? So let me put up yesterday's challenge. So here was yesterday's challenge. It's in the ticker below. And I will also add today's challenge. All right. So look at the ticker below and write down yesterday's challenge in case you weren't with us yesterday. And I'm going to share tonight's challenge. So day 2 challenge, identify 2 areas in your value proposition that you can change to become a high growth venture. Yes, excellent. All right, so I'm going to put that on screen for you. It's going to show in the ticker. So that is your day 2 challenge. And I want to know how you're doing with your challenge. So if you're in my WhatsApp, her community, you can always send me a message or send, put what you're learning in the challenge, what stands out for you. If you're on my Instagram at Coaching by Tamu, you can share in relevant posts about your challenge and the responses to your challenge. I'm also on Facebook, so where this is appearing live, let us know how you're getting along, and on YouTube as well. And just to remind you that until the last day of the challenge, you have a special price. Yesterday's price is gone, but until the final day of the challenge, you can get that challenge, get the Action and Accountability Program for 2025 at $115 US. Right? You can't beat that. And then it goes back up on the 9th and 10th. And then after the 10th, these early rates are gone, and we're going to have, higher rates after that. So good night, everyone. It's been great having you here. And join me for day 3. And maybe you can send me, a message to let me know what you think our topic will be tomorrow. All right. Bye, everyone.